Dear sister, dear Dhamma friends, today also to start the Dhamma talk, may you all give the consent with 3 times, sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tasse bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhasse. Ditti visuddhi yava deva kankha vitarana visuddhattang kankha vitarana visuddhi yava deva magga magga jnana dassana visuddhattang ti. Dear Dhamma friends, we were taking the Rathavinitha Sutta as the basic theme, and based upon that we are in a series of Dhamma talks, and today is the 12th talk and the 12th day in our retreat. And in the early part of the Sutta, Venerable Punnamantani Putta is giving a kind of a negative answers for each and every purification, as to that is not the final, and then he made the point clear. His whole effort is for this anupada nibbana, that means the final liberation without attachment. And then Venerable Sariputta is again asking the question in a way so that the real idea of the discussion is becoming revealed slowly. And after giving the real picture, again Venerable Punnamantani Putta is explaining each and every purification is leading one after the other in a chain actions, and therefore each and everyone has its own due practical value, and it can't stand by itself without the proximate cause, and then only and when the proximate cause is fulfilled, this particular purification become the important thing, and there each and every practitioner accordingly has some responsibilities to make this purification mature, and once it is come up to the maturity, definitely it must be used in the practical way, in the utility value, to push into the next purification. At that time, it's almost you want the drop off the particular purification, then only make room for the future forthcoming purification. Likewise, it has kind of a very pragmatic meaning. So far we have covered the Sila Visuddhi, Ditti Visuddhi, Chitta Visuddhi. Sila Visuddhi, Chitta Visuddhi, Ditti Visuddhi. That means purification of virtues, and purification of the mind, and purification of the views. Today we are going to take the next, how this Ditti Visuddhi, or purification of views, going to become a proximate cause for the next one, the purification by overcoming doubts. So Ditti Visuddhi, yesterday we came to know, it is understanding each and every phenomena as and when it arises, and being diligent, that is nothing but the mentality and physicality. So moment someone come to understand, whenever the phenomena going to take place, or object going to come or fallen with the avenues of the particular sense organ, come into view with or come within the range, they are seeing, hearing, smelling, touching, tasting, thinking going to take place. Whenever such a thing happen, all the phenomena could be divided into basically two, physicality and mentality. When and where you be diligent and observe it without letting it to go for complications, one time yogi will understand, if someone can observe the phenomena as and when it arises, it is nothing but the beginning of the materiality and mentality. So this is called the Ditthi Visuddhi. That is to say, if you observe the phenomena from morning to evening, or your experience from morning to evening, each and every observation or experience or the phenomena can be divided into physicality and mentality, and beyond that there is no essence, there is no ego, there is no other agent behind, but the physicality and mentality. So therefore the function of this Ditthi Visuddhi is to understand there is no personal ego, no individual ego. These are deducible and reducible into physicality and mentality. And yet another benefit of that is, even this phenomena appear to be unauspicious or defeating kind of, or uncontrollable or disease, physical and mental, as far as the Ditthi Visuddhi is intact, even the body is sick, you can maintain the mentality healthy. You can observe it in a outsider's point of view. That is also one of the great advantages of the Ditthi Visuddhi. But still, it won't sort out this Kanka Vitarana Visuddhi. That means that some doubts. So, if the present phenomena on the present moment is clearly sorted out into the physicality and mentality, what is the reason or what is the cause and what is the room for doubts to arise? Rationally it speaks that if the mind is then and there, if it is sorting out the physicality and mentality of the object or phenomena or the experience, what is this, how is that, where is that room or possibility for the doubts to happen? The doubts here indicate from where that phenomena manifested. When the phenomena manifested in the present moment, you can cut into physicality and mentality, but from where it comes from. So as far as that is not being sorted out, that leading to doubts, many multifaceted, multivarious doubts. So in order to, or in the sense, understanding, diagnostic with the doubts, the Buddha, he says, in order to get rid of these doubts or to rectify it, once you reach this Ditthi Visuddhi, you have to go to the understanding of the beginning of the phenomena. Go to the early part of, or arising part of. As and when it arises, if you are making use your diligence or your vigilance or the mindfulness to the beginning of the phenomena, that is the way you can rectify these doubts. So therefore, when this happens, your mind is reinforced or galvanized with the virtues. And on top of that, it is being armed with concentration. And that concentration is being rather made use to analyze and see the phenomena into physicality and mentality. So that means 3 times it has been reinforced. It's fairly skillful, fairly mastered, and such a mind only can direct it into the early part of the phenomena. That is the point that one has to question, one has to ask whether this attention, the adverting power, is there any plasticity to divert it to different directions. it is a fairly a good question whether there are any plasticity. So if it is a plasticity there, you can divert into the beginning of the phenomena, middle of the phenomena and the end of the phenomena. Otherwise, so far, the attention, the manasikara, we've been so efficient, skillful to understand the as and when the phenomena happens. But even then, if there are doubts, that means there are some rooms for the entertainment of doubt. So the Buddha is analyzing and he says, in order to rectify it, you have to have the plasticity of the attention, and that plasticity you must direct to the beginning of the phenomena. Of course, in order to get rid of the doubts, not only the beginning, equally it must be shedding light to the end of the phenomena too. Then only you can say the beginning, the middle and the end of the phenomena are fully covered. But here the Buddha is giving a fair consideration about the conventional mind, because conventional mind never happy to see the end of the phenomena. It is always encouraging and happy to see the beginning. For example, when a baby was born, it is a party, birthday party. But the baby become a full-fledged citizen and when died, it is not a happy thing. It is a bad thing. The birth is good thing, the death is not. So when the flower is at the bud level, it is a very nice picturesque thing. Go and take photos and it is blooming. It is so much encouraging. But once the petals gone down, dropped, and there is no more, it is no more an attractive and aesthetic thing. So exactly the same thing throughout our perception, we are always giving additional value for the beginning part, and when it is cessation going to happen, we feel kind of unauspicious, kind of unwanted uncontrollability and changing nature. Rising part also a representative of that changing nature, but we consider it as an auspicious and kind of thing. So making use this conventional rut, the Buddha indicates once the Ditta Visuddhi is finished, direct the attention to the beginning of the phenomena. So that is what the meaning of Kankha Vitarana Visuddhi. And later, the commentators, they mention the Ditti Visuddhi means Namarupa Paricheda Jnana, that means understanding the phenomena of the experience in terms of materiality and mentality. If we are to take the primary object in sitting meditation, like in-breath and out-breath, whenever the Ditti Visuddhi is clear, Ditti Visuddhi is fulfilled, Ditti Visuddhi is mastered, that each and every in-breath and out-breath, you have the capacity to discern, this is the materiality, this is the mentality. That means, Vayo Pottabha Dhatu, that means the rubbing sensation of the air element is the main actor there. That is the materiality. When the rubbing sensation or interacting sensation of the air rub the nostrils, inward flow, you understand this is the in-breath. When it is gushing out from the nostrils, it is called out-breath. This is the difference between the in-breath and out-breath that indicates the materiality. The very recognition, this is in-breath, this is out-breath, this is not heat, this is not water, earth element, but air element, that is the function of material, mentality. Mind is the one, separate it out and understand this air element, and it is the in-breath, is the out-breath. So when and where it happens, if the mind is very clear, and there's a clarity to see, this is the rubbing sensation of in-breath and this is the rubbing sensation of out-breath, And when that is going to happen consecutively in number of rounds or number of seconds or number of minutes, that means during that time, the discernment, this is materiality, this is mentality is happening. But if someone can really understand this is what does it mean by Nama-Rupa Paricceda Jnana, it will be an additional quality. Otherwise still there may be some doubts. So therefore, one has to make sure the meaning of Nama-Rupa Paricceda Jnana means when and where a phenomena happens, if the mindfulness is there, if the preparedness of the diligence is there, you can understand one experience separate from the other. The separation is the mentality, the very phenomena, the rubbing sensation, the physicality is the materiality. When that happens, that has to be mastered, and that means you must have the confidence in your mind. I can keep now breath continuously for longer time or more than earlier. When that confidence happens, only you pay the attention to the beginning of it. In Satipatthana Sutta or in the Anapanasati Sutta, it says the opening part, it says Sato Vasasati, Sato Pasasati. Is in-breath mindfully and out-breath is under mindfulness. And then that is the opening. And then Digang Vasasanto, Digang Asasamiti Pajanati, that means a long in-breath and equally to the long out-breath. And then it comes to the short in-breath, short out-breath, that means now the mind is fixed. And then it says Sabbakaya Patisangvedi Asasisamiti Sikkati, Sabbakaya Patisangvedi Pasasisamiti Sikkati. Now you have been asked to see the whole breath body. That means at the beginning you see the longness of the in-breath and out, shortness of the in-breath and out-breath, that means familiarity. Once familiarized, you are being asked to see the beginning through the middle to the end. Out of that, it is natural, so someone to direct the attention, divert the attention, advert the attention to the beginning. When and where someone understands this, the literal meaning, and manage to use this plasticity, the changing nature of the attention to direct into the early part of, or the beginning part of the in-breath, and when it is successful, that is expressed. Now you are not only see the object, you see the object with its beginning. The beginning of the in-breath and the in-breath. The beginning of the out-breath and the out-breath. So when that happens, it says Sappacce Parigahana Jnana. Not only you see the object, but you see the basement or foundation of the object also. Pacce means that proximate factor, the cause. So now you are observing the object together with the proximate factor. So two examples given as I mentioned last time also in the commentary. Whenever a doctor going to meet a patient, he not only see the symptoms mean the currently manifested situation, but while observing and associating the patient, the skillful doctor is always trying to find a root cause. Therefore his medicine sometimes to suppress the symptoms, but that is temporary. But the day he or she understands the root cause, then only really tackling of the disease can happen. So in our agriculture also, that was my, as a layperson, been trained. Whenever plant is becoming diseased, we have to isolate the pathogen. We have to isolate the microorganism. So whenever the disease particle, the part of the plant brought to the lab, we put that one of the part into the agar, that is a potato-based medium, and let it grow. When it is growing, the disease part is going to give germs. Usually you see number of germs. number of colonies. So the person who is doing microbiology understand each colony separately and reintroduce into a new medium to make sure different colonies separate. And once that isolation happens, reinfest with each and every germ to a fresh plant to see which one is going to give the same symptoms like the early plant. That is to show which is what is the causative, what is the preliminary cause. That is because whenever the plant is being attacked by a germ, microorganism, its immunity goes down, then many other germs also come and attack. So then the situation is complicated, symptoms are complicated, the primary germ will be covered. So the microbiologist has to understand to isolate the primary cause. So what they do is let all the colonies to grow, separate the colonies, and after separation reinfest it, observe the plant, and then same principle has to do again. 2-3 times you have to apply. If the same symptoms going to happen, then only isolate. This is the root cause. This is called Koch's postulation. 3 times you have to go back, and each time if the same symptom going to happen, that is how you attribute, and then only try to see what is the antidote for this particular germ, and then only common recommendation is going. The similar may be in the other living beings, animals and the human. Also, tracing back to the root cause, then only you can really control the situation. Exactly the way whenever you are observing the breath means somewhat gross, somewhat already mature, middle part of the breath. Breath means kaya sankhara. So if you wish to see sankhara, if to see the volition, if you wish to see the will, wish to see the motivation, already manifested will, already manifested volition, and the intention won't give the complete picture. But there is no other way. That is the point you have to start with. And then you have to trace back, deconstructing way, how it happens, when it happens. So that is how the instructions to see the beginning of the in-breath and the beginning of the out-breath. So if you manage to see, you will see the breath becomes subtler and subtler and subtler. And yogis' main facilitation must be towards the beginning of the phenomena. So when and where you manage to see the phenomena together with the beginning, specifically in the Majjhima Sutta, the Buddha says, now you understand 2 extremes. One extreme is completely manifest as gross, middle, and the other one is unperceivable, very subtle beginning. When these two are discernible, when these two are understand the 2 separate things, then such a mind can understand the middle part. Middle part is observation of the end of the object. So in the Kankhavitarana Visuddhi, main attention is towards the beginning of the object, and when and where the in-breath happens, you must be prepared to see the early part of arising. And when the next breath happens, you try to see, observe still early. And when you keep on going, you come to a brim, you come to a point where the perceivable thing and unperceivable thing into the perceivability, and there you can understand that's all you can trace, but still if you can go beyond, there is some kind of unconsciousness. The consciousness is leading from the gross to the subtlety, subtle to the subtlest, and then it is leading unperceivable to the perceivability. Something like when you are studied and finished the tip of the iceberg, you will understand how this tip is uplifted from the water And from where this lifting energy comes? That comes because huge lump is underwater, and that is lighter than the water, and therefore it is always keep the 10% up. So the day you finish the understanding of characteristics of the shapes and the forms, manners of the already exposed tip, then you come up to the water level. And there you understand, if you can go surface level, submarine level, then the separate part which is not, it is unexpressed, or that is called unconscious area, but that is also exactly like the tip, but it is subsurface. So that is how it is being invited to go beyond, go below. So that can we understand the perceivable to unperceivability, and we can say the beginning of the object, but that's a macro level, micro level. When it comes to the macro level, this is the way we are going to answer the original creator. The root cause, the primary cause, the first cause. Before the Buddha, there were three basic theories. Some people told the beginning, the first cause is Nissarana. There's an omnipotent, omnipresent God. He is the one creating these things. And ultimately, it became not belong to this world, it is heavenly. Not in this life, it is beyond, and that is has all the powers and the governing nature of everything. Everything belongs to that power, and that is the one deciding. So therefore, unless otherwise you get the sympathy of that power, you cannot be a happy person in this life or life to come. So therefore, the subconscious, unconscious area was considered as something mystic and something believable, something to believe, frightening, and that is called Nissarana. But happily or luckily or fortunately, there were some other rivalry group. They say nothing called that kind of mystics. Everything is explainable by physics. What is perceivable is the only world. Don't believe that is mystics. That is called materialists. Bhautikavada. And that was rivalry with the Nissarana, with the creator. There was yet another kind. They mentioned the world is completely already determined, determinism, and niyatagatikavada. So therefore, whatever the creativity you are going to have, whatever the productivity you are going to have, whatever the analytical power, everything is decided. So therefore, no use of fighting. They told that everything is according to the karmic forces, according to the past accumulation. So therefore, that is niyatagatika. So accordingly, there were three sects fighting each other, completely black and white difference. But the Buddha, he understood their kind of effort to answer this subsurface area under the unconscious area, but they are not successfully answering. Instead, the Buddha mentioned there is no such a Nissarana or creator God, or there is nothing you can explain only by the physics, Bhautikavada, or there is not fixed attention. There is a plasticity of the attention. You can change it. That is the radical nature the Buddha came out, and if we are stopping the story at that level, it is destructive of all the what is available. All the three we negated. Not only that, Buddha was constructive. He told, came out, it's a cause and effect relationship. So when the cause and effect relationship is coming, it is not just merely destructive about this Nissarana, the intelligent design, or materialism or determinism. So, in the Brahmajala Sutta, these three, determinism, and the materialism and the creation, all being really explained. This is how it happens. That is because they have a kind of concentration, so they can go back to the base little more than the normal conventional people. So they speculate and come out with this one, but nothing give the full answer. So Buddha mentioned, my rising or rising of the omniscient one is to understand this net of views and to give a constructive answer. Constructive answer is the cause and effect relationship. So in order to understand, you have to say conventional world is always tackling with the effect. Already arisen the gross part. But it always failing to understand the base because it is little bit destructive for the convention. Or it is against the grain, simply. But the Buddha's presentation was not denying the convention, but he says, understand the convention thoroughly, fully. Understand the tip of the iceberg 100%, that means all the manners and all the shapes. And then don't stop at that level. Go submarine, go subsurface. When you go there, you will understand this tip is floating because of the pushing nature of the lump down there. So therefore, they are interdependent each other. So the day you understand the root, the beginning, even if it is unperceivable, it is the majority, the lion's share is under the water. What is appearing is just a fraction. So therefore, materialists lose that what is subsurface. They are believing only what is available there. So the Buddha was not happy with that. Instead he asked, go in a systematic way, the beginning, observing the beginning. When you come to the observance of the beginning, the moment you tread past this water level, when you go down, marvelous thing happens. You will understand the subsurface area, there is no discrimination among the male and female. No discrimination among the religions or different kinds. Difference, the fighting, the envious, the jealous, everything is on the tip of the iceberg. Undercurrent is the subsurface area, mere humanity. So if someone managed to see this available gross manifested phenomena and not happy with that and go into the beginning, that means you are seen through the convention, more and more you go there, such a broadening of the mind happens, ultimately you will understand each and everyone on the earth, each and every humans are equal as far as the subconscious is concerned. The 10% that is expressing outwardly has different shapes and the different manners, and the worldly knowledge is limited to that what is expressed. So therefore, under part is not mystic, but it is realistic. But you have to based upon what is already expressed, the convention, and based on that, you have to go against the grain. When you are going there, one day you will understand the object together with the beginning. Sappacce parigahana. This very mere, the micro step, that means understand the beginning of the breath, is answering the whole dependent origination, the biggest teaching of the Buddha. And therefore, when someone is practicing according to the 7 stages of purification, when you are reaching the 4th purification, you never be happy with by just observing the superficial or the face value of the object. When and where the face value, the superficial thing going to happen, you understand it has a huge undercurrent or underlying part. So, The superficial part is just the indicator, guidelines, but based upon that you have to go to the beginning. So the beginning and the middle slowly becoming your reality. So when that happens, you are going to understand the human mind. Already express part indicate your personality, your likings and disliking, and your identity, your fundamentalism, your fanatic nature, your rut. But when you go down there, you understand every one of us equal over there, but we are so obsessed with, so concerned with what is expressed. Some people live complete their whole life on the surface. And they say they have PhDs and double doctors and professors and all the kind of thing. Nonsense. That's why it case BSc means bullshit. MS means more shit. PhD means pile deep and high. So that is why the Buddha is laughing at this kind of a theoretical knowledge. I mean, it is nothing to deny, but it's just a base. Upon that, if you are failing to go underwater, you will be bragging and talking and all the kind of thing. But the Buddha says, what you know is good enough for the base. That is, you understand the beginning of the, or middle of the object. And make sure to see the beginning. That challenge is the what? The Khanka Vitarana Visuddhi means, and then you will understand the root cause. So when the classical physics came into being together with the Sir Isaac Newton, he really challenged the physics, and he told we can control, as far as we know, when someone is moving on the space in a single line, and if someone is going to hit it, the original object is changing its path, and the reaction is almost equal to the action. By knowing that mere fact, he started a completely new way, so that motor mechanism and all things came to know. But now everyone knows, still he was a believer of the God. So his interpretation was, of course, this existing or conventional world we can change by physics, but I can't answer how this came into being. He told, beginning was the intelligent design. That's a God. But once created, it is now at the hand of the man. So therefore, this is all the scientists are scientists from the Monday morning to the Saturday evening. Towards the weekend, they are believers. Go to the church and make their next life secure. That is the way they were crooked. But luckily or unluckily, Einstein hit the brim. He went into the beginning, and when there, he found that is also exactly can be explained from the energy and the matter. E is equal to mc square. And then he questioned at the beginning, who is set this, the momentum, the motion. And then he was threatened not to be a scientist from the morning, Sunday morning to Monday morning to Friday evening. So evening in the weekends also he was threatening, or he was challenging to the God, the Creator God. So that is the point where the scientists now finding and struggling. They really know the expressed phenomena, the conventional phenomena, we can analyze physically, chemically, biologically, and all the kind of thing. Who set it in the motion? In America, it's a hell of a fight now. The natural selection and the intelligent design. And the people, those who are believing the intelligent design, they says the natural selection and the survival of the fittest and the kind of thing is a theory. It is not been proven yet. So therefore, if the children are going to teach this theory of natural selection, they have to give the other counterpart of the intelligent design also. So therefore they file cases, and in some states they have denied. But still the fundamentalists are fighting. They say intelligent design is not disproved. And this natural selection is not yet proved. They are just theories. They are just postulations. So therefore, we must be fair and tell the people, tell the children, equal way natural selection as well as the intelligent design. So those who are believing the natural selection, they say, few people with that kind of a bad agenda are going to mislead the whole human nation. Are we to allow it to that? They call they are atheist. They don't like it. And this is 40% of Americans are atheists now. 80% of scientists are not believing God. But still you can see 20% believing. And 60% of the Americans believing. So that is because they can really understand physics, they can understand chemistry, they can understand biology, but under the ground, who set this in motion, still obscure. That is the point the doubt arises. So the Buddha says, in order to understand it, whenever the phenomena happens, don't have any mystics in your idea, don't believe 100% on this scientific method, but reduce it down to the minimum perceivable level, fix the attention there, be diligent, be vigilant, and more you fix the attention, your sensitivity will be increasing. The sensation will be more amplified, and there you will understand some kind of a unexplored area in your consciousness, and there it has to happen only in one dimension. Here, now I am. If it is outwardly, this momentum never takes place. So you are starting at the superficial level, the face value, and then instead of the extrovert or overtly, you go inwardly. When you go inwardly to the deep and deep there, you understand to a certain extent the rational mind can go. But beyond that, it go and ultimately hit it. And still the mindfulness can stand. You see, the diligence can stand. The perceivability, unperceivability is challenged now. Whether you feel it or not, it is challenged. Whether it is volitional or not, it is changed, but the mindfulness can stand. So that is the point. The Buddha says, employ the mindfulness to the maximum, and don't going to be judgmental whether that is, if someone is unperceivable, if you can't feel it, if you have no any controlling power, you can't say there's nothing there. There may be some part, even if you can't feel it, even if you can't perceive it, even if you can't control it, ungovernable, there are. And the Buddha says, what is you can feel, what is you can perceive, what is you can control is insignificant. The huge lump is unperceivable, you can't feel it, your gross senses can't feel it, and you have no maneuvering power, controlling power. That is the maximum. That is the majority, that's the lion's share. So therefore, those who are obsessed with this, what is feelable, and what is perceivable, what can be controlled, they are talking about this little minority, little fraction of the phenomena. So therefore, they are blindfolded, or they are fixed with that blinkers. They can't see both the sides. So therefore, if you wish to be radical, if you wish to be going against the grain kind, don't believe what you see. And therefore, easily you can question the normal norm. What is existing, I can see. What I see is existing. That is our norm. Buddha is really questioning it. He says the pena pindupama rupang, vedana bubbulupama, Sanya marichukupama, Sankara kadalupama, Vijnana mayupama. He said the form is the materiality, corporeality is just like a form, like a rigiform or lump of bubbles. Though it appears like a big and kind of thing, internally when you analyze it and see, there's no substantial thing as it appears. So the appearing is a camouflage. And when you see a bubble, it is very beautiful, symmetrical and kind of thing. At any time it can burst off and then go into nothingness. And when you are looking at it, is like the feelings. When you are looking at the mirage, it appears like water. Water will frills, and it is thrilling to see under such a heat the water. But if you are going to chase behind it, never you can bridge the gap. More and more you chase, the mirage also running. Ultimately what happens is, you will get exhausted and you will finish. So therefore even though it appears like water, there is no water. So what you see, you believe as existing, and what you exist, you feel like seeing, but at the mirage you are at lost. And the trunk of banana, it appears a very nice pit, the wood with good pith, and it's very straight, not like other things. So if you are going to believe, just like other trees, this is also have a pith, you are the one get the wrong, misled. There's no pith. And in the magic show, it appears like you are creating gold and the money and all the kind of thing, but it is nothing but magic, a dream. So therefore all five aggregates, Buddha says, it's what you see is not existing, what is existing you can't see. So when that happens, that simply in the modern language we can say, when and where the energy become matter and matter become energy, that's the point that quantum physics is working. And it is under whose control? Who is deciding? No one. And ultimately it says only the consciousness. Whenever the consciousness hit the energy wave, it collapses into matter. And that matter is recognized or cognized by that very consciousness that collapses it. With the label, it is a sight or sound or smell or taste or touch. All these are happening then and there. Therefore, what you see, that you are. Wherever you go, there you are. So, they are reciprocal, very, very electric. So, that point you can see by already mature gross phenomena. You have to go back to not the back, you have to go to the beginning of the phenomena. Whenever you go into see the beginning and the middle, it's a great achievement, even though it's happening in the micro level. And in the Paticcasamuppada, I remember there were some questions we postponed to go into the Paticcasamuppada. It says avijja paccaya sankhara. That means all the mental formation, fabrications and the proliferations are due to ignorance, the darkness. So, whenever the kaya sankhara, that means the in-breath and out-breath, come to the cessation as such, or come to the very subtle layer, that is the least amount of avijja, least amount of ignorance, least amount of defilements. So when that happens, even if it is a good state, even if it is something to be appreciated, our rational mind become agitated, feel uncomfortable, entertain doubts, or either fall into sleep, or feel like forced breathing. Because it is losing its grip. So therefore, if you wish to understand the lessening or wear and tear and warning out of the ignorance, carefully go from gross to the subtlety of the breath, and when and where the breath becomes subtle, you can be happy. This is the only point on the earth where you can understand the least amount of ignorance. And then when you go to the Chitta Sankhara, that the feelings and the perception happens, the positive, pleasurable feeling, painful feeling, you have to really delimit or isolate, and then naturally you will come to the no pain, no pleasure kind of alley. And when that happens, you will be no more driven, no more pulled here and there by the pain and pleasure. You will come to some kind of a middle path. In the perception also becoming unperceivable level, that Chitta Sankhara also now calming down, and you can understand still lessening of the ignorance. So when that happens, yogi must be really maximizing it. Go into familiarization and season it to the maximum, and to awakening into this lack of ignorance. As far as the ignorance is there, you feel like questioning it. You feel like force breathing. You feel like uncomfortable. Feel like monotonous. Boredom. Fearfulness. Lost. So these are the symptoms of the ignorance. So there's no other way other than going prepared. When you go there, less and less the ignorance, less and less the manifest, the sankhara or mental formation. And the other way around, you can say, if you can monitor and go into the least amount of sankhara, that means the warning out kaya sankhara and the chitta sankhara, that is on the earth, under your very nose, in this very life, in this dispensation, you can see how much you can reduce the ignorance. That will be a constructive and productive and encouraging only for Sappurisa. Or people have the true people, noble people, they really understand what is happening. Therefore, meditation is always productive, always leading to that. But who is going to understand, interpret in the proper way, that depends on the Kankha Vitarana Visuddhi. Instead, the Western kind of people or thinking kind of people, they entertain doubts thinking it is a wisdom. Panya mukhena vancha vichikiccha vanchet. The doubts is behave in as a perverted, it's a perverted form of the doubt is appear like wisdom. Ube pakka sati santirana vasena vichikiccha vanchet. It says, I am not doing bad thing. What I am doing is comparing this side and that side. I am justice. I am measuring these two. So therefore always leading the mind to the extremes. Whenever mind come back to the middle path, it become uncomfortable and entertain doubts and justify it, telling, no, I am not biased. I am just comparing these two. But what happens is you lose the middle path. So therefore the doubt is such a destructive thing, but you don't understand doubt as doubt. So therefore clearing the doubt permanently happen with the first jnana, first magga jnana. That means sakkaya ditthi vicikicca silabbata paramasa. Vicikicca means getting rid of doubts. But at this purification, your basic aim is to understand or to get rid of misunderstanding regarding the Creator or the Issara Nimmana, the creation of the omnipotent, omnipresent God, or not to take this materialistic kind of explanation, or to get into determinism. Each and everyone has its own flaws. So without letting such a thing to happen, sometimes these things can be expressed as opportunities. If you have any kind of a belief on the God, you may see, you may believe by praying the God you can go to Nibbana, instead of fulfilling the causes and getting the effect. So therefore you must never try to expect quick results. You must understand by practicing, by fulfilling the causes only, the results going to happen. And once the causes fulfilled, no one can prevent from you getting results. If it is so, why should we have any mistakes? No, by anyone's grace or blessing of your teacher, if you are going to have something, that is simply opportunist. You are degrading this cause and effect relationship. So once you understand the cause and effect relationship, you will understand you are the omnipotent, omnipresent God. As far as you can fulfill your basic the causes, the results going to happen. Otherwise, always you expect Nibbana will happen, or this jnana will happen, this extrasensory perception will happen, due to my luck, or due to the blessing of someone, or by reading books, or by praying, or by following this kind of misleading people. So that is the way you have to get rid of these doubts. And once you get gotten these doubts, then you will see whatever the properties you have, you can really entertain them. Simply you as a human being, you can live a down-to-earth life. Instead of becoming jealous with other people and hatred and entertaining desire and kind of thing, you try to get healed oneself and live on the earth. Otherwise, this is always mind is with waves, very difficult to see the good image and the bottom of the water pool. So therefore, overcoming doubt is recognized as Chullasotapanna. Iminapana jnanena samannagato vipassako Buddha sasane laddapatitto laddasaso niyatagatiko Chullasotapanno. So commentators, they say, the moment you understand there is no such a root cause or original, the creator, and you don't believe on only the materialistic thing and consumerization, and you can't say this is everything is determined, there is no plasticity of the attention, that relief is substantial. Even though you have not gone into the Sotapatti level, first Magga Jnana, this particular person, if he can maintain this situation up to the throughout his life, Iminapana jnanena samannagato vipassako, such a inside meditator, if he can maintain it, Buddha sasane laddapatitto, he got the establishment in this dispensation. Laddasaso, he get the release of this doubt. And then niyatagatiko, he will never go to the nether world, he will ever developing further on improvement. And Chullasotapanno, he is worth calling half or getting the basic features of the Sotapanna. So therefore, till that you go, or raise your nose above the water level, it's a trip is painfully slow. But even then, if you go beyond that, it does not indicate a permanent thing. Again, you can come back, but only thing is, you understand there's an option. Not just merely depending on this convention, or what is expressed, you know how to go into the root. So when and where you learn this art, you never will be satisfied by the face value. And there onward, actually you will not go for makeup. Because the whole world it's such a facelifting. Are you also going to contribute into that and make the world hell? or mad world, or try to be back to the earth, just on the ground, and therefore, very easily you will understand whenever you remove the doubts, there is nothing called doing meritorial deeds, but instead what you have to do is not to do bad things. Sabba Papa Sakarang is the basic theme. Kusalasa Upasampada must be second. Kusalasa Upasampada means doing skillful thing and meritorial deeds and all the kind of thing. Your skillfulness must be not to harm others. That is why it says first do no harm. Or Kusalasa Upasampada. So till that, the religious ism, Buddhism, Christianism, ism is coming, and they are teaching you to do this and that and good thing and all the kind of thing and worrying about others, and your mind will be completely obsessive. But once the doubts cleared, you will understand main thing is not to disturb, not to harm, or the first do no harm. Then you will be a really benevolent Samaritan human being. People will say that you are callous, you have no feeling, you have no compassion, you are not helping others and kind of thing. But you yourself will understand, I am not disturbing the flow. Then not your all energies, your capacities, your potentials, you can make use for the liberation, but even the world fail to understand how much good vibrations you are making. You will know. Buddha will know. So therefore, those who have passed beyond this level will have a real sympathy for the people really striving. But those who are no concern about this, consider these people, those who are striving, as people try to find escapism. They have no feeling for the society. They have no feeling for the dear and near ones. They are selfish. All the kind of cock and bull stories. But whatever the effort you are going to take, whatever the effort we are going to take, we never can make this meditation popular thing or applicable for the majority of the world. Never. So always a little fraction. So you must understand your possibility in the universal law. So don't worry. Don't dishearten telling only 10% or 15% or sometimes 1% only meditating, others are not. That is the case. Even the Buddha going to appear on the earth, that is the case. That itself you have to be happy. And within my life, if I am talking about, I am spending only 1 hour a day or 2 hours a day kind of thing, still you have to be happy because that itself is going against the grain. So once these doubts are being cleared, I am telling again, this is up to the Sotapanna, is not a permanent thing, but you understand it is possible. That means you have the plasticity of the attention. If you can really make use it in the proper time, you can go beyond and again come back and have a hope in this life or in this dispensation or in this given chance. Maximum make use of your mindfulness and the concentration and control or monitor your attention. That is simply to reduce, to lessen the sankhara. Otherwise, you are fertilizing avijja, ignorance. When and where you are cutting down and go to the least amount of sankhara, the avijja is deneutralizing, weaning off. And then the sankhara go little, reduce, sankhara pacha, avijja pacha sankhara, sankhara pacha viññāna. That you are manifesting or magic mind, or magic of the mind will be reduced, it will be realistic. So you will understand the relationship between the sankhara and viññāna. For the viññāna, very difficult to get all the signals at a time. Viññāna can't entertain seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching in a given moment. But our senses, the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, and body, always pouring so much of information. So someone has to select one thing at a time. That done by the sanskara. So therefore sankhara is interpreting terms to the vijnana. Sankhara is choosing mind, selecting mind. We can't do away. Selecting is good, but the danger is selecting one means rejecting five. You have to suffer the loss due to rejecting five. Whenever you are seeing, you are rejecting hearing, you are rejecting smelling, you are rejecting tasting, you are rejecting touching and rejecting thinking. But when you go to a state where breath becomes very subtle, your attention is not directed to the sensitivity of the body, you will understand the whole body experience. That when you go to the whole body experience, you can't say that experience is depending on the eye or ear or nose or tongue or body or mind, but it's an agglomeration of everything. So it says that moment is contented. That moment is saturated. Satisfaction, but only for the people go prepared. Other people may find it difficult to understand how to work with that, or sometimes entertain doubts, sometimes monotony, sometimes the boredom, sometimes fearfulness. So therefore, when and where the mind becomes calm and the kaya sankhara, vachi sankhara calm down, if you can appreciate it, if you can enlightening into that, that is how you wean off the avijja, the sankhara, as vijnana. Take the consciousness fairly under control. So then, arising nama-rupa, the vijnana is the one creating the resultant nama-rupa. That nama-rupa is not so bewildered. It will be fairly under control, something like breath is so subtle, and you are fully contented with that. So you are with the least amount of nama-rupa. And you consider this as the richness. You consider this as the contentment. You consider this as the satisfaction. Saturation, then it is going against the grain. Then onward, the amount of the desire, the clinging, everything will be slowly weaning off. That is how sankhara become visankhara. Visankhara katanchittam. Slowly you understand how not to disturb the phenomena, how not to disturb the society, how not to disturb our emotions. The calming down, that is what the calming down of the sankhara is concerned, and it is directly related with the ignorance. More and more you go and to this the calming down or taming sometimes is called, less and less ignorance. So that is how the tiny little step to see the beginning of the object, that's a micro level, is going to give a huge difference in your likings and disliking and the personality. And your wastage of time on the doubts also will be reduced. Once you raise the head above, you will understand who the Buddha is, what is the Dhamma is, what is the Sangha is, those who are practicing, and how much of your virtues, your own sila, helpful for that. So you will be believing Buddha Dhamma Sangha together with your virtues, and therefore all within you. You will be contented, and then only you are becoming ready to go for the really understanding the path and non-path. And without this kind of a sound basis, very difficult for you to understand what is the path and what is the non-path. So therefore doubts invariable. Once you rectify the doubts by going back to the source, you are sorting out itself, not by the Buddha. Buddha is only giving the simple methodology, and more confidence you are going to develop, because this is fulfilling almost 4 out of 7 purifications, but don't think this is a permanent one. For the third time I am mentioning each and every sitting, if you can go beyond that, that help, promote, reinforce, galvanizing your potential, so you become your own teacher. Your mistakes become your own fertilizer, and then onward, the suffering, earlier it was a negative and unauspicious and something like kind of the discouraging. Now the suffering will become your fertilizer. You know how to recycle the suffering. You know how to recycle the catastrophe. You know how to recycle the mishap. Each and everything has a blessings in disguise, or each and every dark cloud has a silver line. You will never look at the dark cloud in onward. You will only see the silver line. Then the world become beautiful. World become more greener once the doubts are being overcome. Otherwise, just like in the world is full of wars. These wars are starting within your capacity, within your mind, then only go outwardly. Each and every war is due to a doubt, not due to a reason. So therefore, if you can sort it out within, you can think about the external also. The lessening of doubt is a great achievement. So with that remark, I would like to stop today's talk. Thank you very much for listening. Almost 1 hour and 15 minutes like. So if there are any other comments or any questions or any unclear points, welcome.
Bhante, you said to go to the beginning, go beyond the beginning. Now in the in-breath, can you explain how you go beyond the beginning?
For the beginner,
the source?
For the beginner, only can see the gross breath, but he has to believe at the beginning. By meditating, one day you will go to a somewhat called subtle breath. So even at the subtle breath, they feel hazy and difficult to observe and what to do kind of thing. But once you establish the gross breath and the subtle breath, then you are leading more to the subtlest. Earlier you can't perceive it, but you can have a hope now. And when you go to the subtlest, then you have the three phases, gross breath, middle breath and the subtlest, and even then you see, from there on you can go further. Before coming up to that level, at the gross level, you have no hope, no path, no methodology. But you be subtle, your efficiency, your sensitivity is increasing, so that you feel that day it is unperceivable, unreachable. Now, due to the efficiency of your faculties, you can go there. So slowly, impossible become, improbable become probable. More and more you go there. Subtlety indicates it finds its own way down. So it is with respect to the time only you have to understand. At the beginning you find it difficult, but when you understand the ways and means and the art, that impossible will become somewhat possible and reachable.
And also you said about as long as ignorance is present, the person will be breathing forcefully and the sankhara will be present. Can you explain that?
Avijja paccaya sankhara. Due to the avijja as the root cause, sankhara happens. Sankhara means volition. Sankhara means will. Sankhara means motivation. So all our will, all our motivation, all our this is due to the avijja. So that's why sabbe sankhara dukkha, sabbe sankhara anicca. All the sankhara, that is our real nature. That is our expression. That is my liking and disliking, my personality expressed by my volition, my will. But the Buddha says, sorry, it is happening due to the ignorance and it is leading to anicca and dukkha. Difficult question, of course I understand. The question also difficult. when you're practicing also, you find that whatever you do, nothing but harm yourself. That is why the children are so happy, because they are doing nothing. They are so happy, even by looking at, we also feel contented and happy. When we are becoming doers, turmoils, too much of turmoils, too much of complication. That's why when you go back, I think it's a hell of a destruction, hell of a loss, hell of the dismantling. When you go home, I don't know what will be the situation. Then I am the happiest. Yeah. No, I mean that when you are messing up with yourself, I am the happiest. When you go home, because everything will be reconsidered, and you have to understand how to live the life without such motivations, without such volition, without such will, just letting things happen. It's an art. So there it is like a blind elephant going to go in the forest, wherever it go, he'd knock it. You lose your grammar in your language.
And can you explain, Bhante, you said when consciousness hits energy wave, it becomes a material.
Whenever the energy wave hit with the consciousness, energy collapses into matter. That is what the one of the theories, or one of the, I don't know, it is not that, it's called Solingen theory. It is hypothesis. In the most important hypothesis is the quantum physics. And I don't know it, as I have not confided. The Schrödinger, this thing has been discovered 300, 400 years ago. But they never express it because the world is not ready to understand it. He said there is nothing called matter unless otherwise the consciousness go and hit. But now the science has come up to the level, so now that unrecognized theory has been recognized, when and where matter happens due to your consciousness, otherwise they are energies.
That is only pertaining to living beings.
The conscious being.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because only living beings have the consciousness.
Yeah. So that means trees and others, they can't see, they can't smell, they can't touch. There's no consciousness. Only the living beings also, that crazy beings. Which I am doing, I am the doer, I am the creator, I am the productive. They are the messing, the people. They are the real agenda makers. They are the real trend makers. And they mess up. Idealistic also, that idealistic is rather to the mental side. Here this is real physical. Physics.
And Bhante, you also went on to say that when we use only one sense base, that causes suffering. Did I understand that correctly?
No, other bases are closed. If you are using eyes, you can't hear at that time, you can't smell at that time, you can't taste at that time, you can't feel at that time. As far as your consciousness is gone to one faculty, other 5 faculties automatically closing.
So does that cause suffering?
I mean, you are losing 5/6 of the phenomena, only get 1/6 and arriving at a decision. How much that decision is reliable? The phenomena have 6 dimensions. You cut off 5 and take only 1, and you claim that I see, I touch, this is my direct touch, and out of that you make an inference, a decision. So how much that decision is going to give a durable answer? Their durability.
But usually all 6 can't function at one go in real life.
Yeah.
So therefore that's how we function.
So that is how the mad world. That's why Buddha says all deranged, all Puthujjanas deranged. And not only that, with the limited knowledge, they arrive at a conclusion and they claim patently, record it, telling this I discovered and my family also must be reported, benefited for that. They are claiming it. They are trying to prove it because they know it is not a substantial thing. That is why the fighting necessary. But the Buddha understand everything. Buddha never reserved, when you read the Tripitaka, not right reserved. I mean, the Tripitaka is the best collection of the world. Anyone can collect, anyone can quote, not right reserved. That's bullshit, everything you said. Even if you are going to take a part and partial in the technical and electronic way, you are subjected to this and that punishment like. Nonsense. And if at all it to make, the Buddha has to make it because he has the comprehensive knowledge. But the Tripitaka is full comprehensive and free, not right reserved.
So what you said was when we go into deep meditation, all six sense bases work together.
At least we come to know selection 1 means preventing 5. That much of ignorance we understand. Selection 1 means rejecting 5. Are you ready to take the responsibility when you are reading the power of mindfulness? He is talking about the little key maker. Whenever Jnanaponika is making one parable from out of German, but it's very clearly he is pointing it out. Selecting 1 means rejecting 5. The classic example is, you will be start laughing, can't tell. I am an unmarried person. Any girl is capable for me. If I am married, I can't look at the girls now because my wife will be upset. So now I am unmarried, I can look at any girl beautiful. For me, I have nothing wrong with the girls. Even after married, nothing wrong, but the wife is. Now my ticket is open. I can look at anything. So marrying means, you are closing the chapter, you have to ask everything from the wife. Can I look at my neighbors? Can I look at the films and kind of? She is no. Only males. Don't look at the females. So that is why anything you select, you become slave. But the problem is, can we live without such a selection? Can we live without such a direction? That is what lifelong research. So Buddha is giving at least an opportunity. You have 6 senses. And keep all open, choiceless awareness. Keep all open, non-reaction. Keep all open, unassuming way. Don't select this is good, this is bad, this is auspicious, this is unauspicious. That is the way we make our narration. We make narrow-minded and we fix blinkers. And we call this is my rights, this is my liking, this is my dislike, this is my personality. And you are ever fighting for that. But when you are going to win, you are winning your own ignorance, your own suffering, your own impermanence. The Buddha says, keep it open. Then open invitation only for humans. Others can't do it because they are not mature enough in their mind. But this is a radical kind of thing. It says, don't narrow down by selecting 1.
Now can you clear your doubts by that?
Otherwise, the same thing I am painting, out of 6, if you going to arrive at a decision by 1/6 of your observation, it is naturally doubtful. Instead, if you keep all the 6 open, definitely you will say you will never arrive at a decision. Not necessary. Decision is necessary because of your selection. Because selection means cut off majority part of the fresh information. 6 dimensions, all dimensions keeping open is what we call yogi. That is what the person is inside meditation, he is completely open. It is suspended attention, or evenly suspended attention or suspended decision. Don't arrive at a decision, let the information of feasibility study to go.
Venerable Sir, now this might be getting still more confusing because
good, I am very happy.
When we meditate, we are supposed to focus on one point.
Yeah.
That I thought means that we are closing all 6 doors. So now you are talking about keeping all 6 doors open.
So when you go into that particular object all the 6 again open.
I see.
So penetrating into one particular object, and within that, no discrimination, no choice. Everything let it happen. Within the breath, gross breath accepted as subtle breath. The desirable breath accepted just like undesirable breath. The far away breath is accepted just like inner breath. Internal breath accepted as outer breath. Past breath, future breath, all the breath equal. So within the breath you develop comprehension. Nothing rejected, because you are choiceless awareness. So then that can be a deductive way. You can understand how is the rising and falling, how the left and the right in the walking, how seeing, how hearing. So because at the beginning you develop one model called in-breath and out-breath, go into it, accept all the facets, all the shapes, all the manners. Because if you're going to take a huge area, you can't do this experiment. So they have to narrow down by priority, by grossness, and narrow down and plunge into that. Have a complete full open ticket to that particular object, and that model you can apply everywhere. It's a how to call, justifiable doubt you have. Good. But you have to go into one thing and forget about everything and completely open-minded to that particular object. That is called primary object.
Then when other objects come into your sphere of perception?
While the operation happens, you don't allow. But once you develop the confidence upon the primary object, that the deductive knowledge, you let them happen. Comparative knowledge. That is called deductive knowledge. The object is called the direct touch. You have to first thorough in the direct touch. When that happens, deductive knowledge is naturally happening. That is why you are supposed to go walk in meditation, midst of seeing, hearing, still you are developing the particular touch sensation. And in the day-to-day activities with the intention, multitask, still you make use the touch sensation. Touch is that what you develop in the in-breath and out-breath. So even within the meditation center, there is a diversification and going into the external. When you go home, the experiment becomes more challengeful. So it is going home is not a punishment, it is the backward. It's a kind of a more challengeful, more radical, more sporty, more scout or Girl Guide.
Bhante, you mentioned about the whole body experience, and I was wondering, is it vis-a-vis the each consciousness of each sense?
If you take the mind is manifesting here as seeing, hearing, smelling, touching, tasting. Now everything come up to here, it's a representative of all the 5. So this is the superficial level, outermost court. And 2 strands, if you go back, everything come up to the here, it is representing all 5. So when you come here, you can see you are open for all the 5, but in a different dimension, everything happening in one. So it says that the brain scientist, the human has specialized the frontal lobe, that is the most specific when compared to the animals. And that is why they found after the Sigmund Freud's death, they analyzed the brain. They found it's a special, enlarged. And when you go middle, they are the preliminary traits of the evolutionary stages. Amygdala, hippocampus, and then the middle part and the topmost. So, when we are emotionally involved and worried and tension, everything happens here. If you can bring back the mind to the primordial form, that evolutionary primordial form, not much emotionally moved. So that means from the brain point of view, from the superficial level, it comes to the middle. In the meditation also, the sensuous, connected mind is very superficial. But when you take one sense and go to the beginning of it, And that means you're going back to the center of the brain, or center of the mind in the sense. I am taking a epithet. And when you go there, it is not really engaged in one faculty, but capacity is fully open. The potential is fully open. Therefore, some Westerners call this inner space as whole body experience. But there it is not really experiencing, but they keep the door open, keep the ticket open. But mind is not going to the superficial level. It is rather functioning at the medulla. So, and the relationship is, the Richard Davidson is finding the relationship between the frontal lobe and the amygdala, frontal lobe and the hippocampus. There is a kind of a relationship. When you become more and more compassionate, when you become healthy emotions, mind is rather coming back to the center. And as far as the frontal lobe is concerned, going from right to the left, the shifting is happening. Then the mind is very aesthetic. Everything is sympathized. So there is no discrimination, no sectarianism. Everyone's suffering is my suffering. I am responsible for everyone's suffering. So the sharing is happening.
Then Bhante, now when there is eye consciousness, again if I hear something, then the ear is a ear consciousness. So that is why the rest is kept open, is that right?
That is why?
The rest is, you say the rest is kept open like that.
Yeah.
So it can move from one sense to the other, and at that point the other senses are inactive.
That is why time dimension wise, if you can thin slice the time, you can understand mind is so swift from jumping from ear to the nose, changing, it appear like single moment you can do two like. But theoretically it cannot. That means you have to thin slice the time. So when you are seeing, you can't hear. But when you are, instead of letting the mind to be at the superficial level, come back to the middle, it is not seeing, it is not hearing, it is not touching, it is not, but every potential is there, not covered. By selecting, you are effectively covering it. That damage you have to pay. That crime you have to suffer. But if you keep it middle and open, this is something radical openness. But not manifested like seeing, hearing kind of. That is called raga. The Professor Padmasiri, he has selected this Samyutta Nikaya Halidani Sutta. It's a particular question is being asked by the Buddha, and he says raga bhava vinibadda rupa dhatu raga vinibadda vijnana. The vijnana is always so engrossed with the materiality in order to maximize the pleasure. That means superficial brain. So Buddha says, that is what you call household life. That's a pattern in a epithet. But when the renunciated light happens, you understand, as far as the mind is so engrossed with the materiality and searching for the pleasure, it's a heavy tension, heavy sectarianism and fighting, and the mind is very superficial. But instead, when you come back, it is not raga vinibadda, not related to the matter. So that is the somewhat similar, I mentioned that anindriya patibadda. Mind is not related to particular object, but middle, just like the spider is at the middle of the spires, the web, and it is ready to jump any direction. We don't know which next time the fly come and hit where. But it's waiting for the jerk to happen, and it is ready in the middle. So that preparedness is what you call the appamad. That preparedness is we call sati. But it has not manifested yet. But it is in the center, fully alert. That is called householder awake in the center of the house. So if I am the householder, I am be here. I have the control about the gate and everything open. Monkeys can come, robbers can come, everything can come. But I am not moving, I am observing and waiting. It says that even a burglar happens, going to come. What they do is they can come and going to give some nuisance over there. So if I go there and try to see, they can enter from this house, this gate. So therefore you are alert in the center, not moving. Not moving indicates you are a little dangerous. Maybe you are having a weapon or something like that, so therefore burglars also, if you are moving, they don't know how to manipulate your movements and enter into. But if you are not moving, householder is alert and the center of the house is protected. That is it is difficult because we are so emotional. Whenever something happens, we are rushing to that. Vulnerable. This whole area is vulnerable. And when the present day bombing, they just give a bomb. And then people are rushing to see, and then only the real bomb happened, that's finished. That is the way they plan it. So the police says, you have nothing to do with that, you are civilians, get out, we are there. They are in they have the skill regarding the bombs. But the people panic. So when you go there, happening. So petrol bomb also the same. They use this technique because we are panicky. So when the contentment happens, the equanimity mind happens, you are not much driven by the vicissitude of the life, the world. Be patient. Be patient means you are believing the middle part of the brain rather than the superficial part.
What I just said was a comment, Bhante. Today's talk was quite a mind-boggling experience.
I am the happiest when if you are really in such a situation, I really throw parties. I am very happy. Huh? I mean that means that you have to really brainstorm. Otherwise you are going in the same rut. Same liking and disliking, same personality. I am not with you. You have to be completely reshuffled. New game. Just like a newly born baby, play. Hell. I mean that, going against the grain. So I did not me. Buddha is telling. He says, Patisotagami. So going according to the current is so traditional and very, very boring. Very conservative. Breaking, but breaking with capacities, with the mindfulness, concentration and all the other purifications, then you develop like such a bomb, such a power inside. You don't feel like waiting and observing, you feel like experimenting this and that. For that, no difference between the male, female, ordained, unordained, Buddhist, non-Buddhist. That is what the Buddha says, don't fight for them. Develop your faculties and you get the full-fledged human life.
Bhante, I think Buddha made reference to God or gods, 5 times, right? Something like that?
5 times.
5 times within the suttas. What are those suttas?
5 times.
I thought 5. I mean, he made comments or just was silent about it for 5 times in the suttas. What are those suttas? I forgot what they were.
I can't understand number 5.
Okay, maybe it's not 5, maybe it's 2, or maybe it's 10. Or...
So you can go for Brahmajala Sutta. Brahmajala is the first sutta in the Digha Nikaya.
I'm sorry, what?
Brahmajala. Brahmajala is the first particular sutta in the long discourses. And that is the way Buddha explained about all the views. And there he says, Nissarana Nissarana is the omnipotent, omnipresent God. And Bhuridatta Jataka also sarcastically Buddha to be challenging it. So present day some philosophers, they are all analyzing. The Buddha says if there is a creator, and why he create the cheating nature of the world, the lying. And if it is so, it has created so much of a destruction in the world, he must not be designated as the creator, he must be designated as the destructor. Simply he says it is ultimately end is a suffering. If it is so, how can use this nice term creator? He has to use it's a destructor.
That's the only sutta where he goes into that particular discourse.
It is explaining about the different views, wrong views can happen. One part is dealing with due to the wrong view on the Creator. Wrong view of the Creator God.
That's the only sutta.
No, there are, but the only best thing you can do is if you can get the sutta, there may be other all related suttas at the reference list.
Okay. Thank you.
Bhante, I got a question. I understand this functionality, how it works with the karma world. That means karma tanha. But I just want to ask a question, how it works with the arupa world, this functionality with nama and rupa.
So it's the Devalokas and in the jhanas.
Arupa world, yes. Because I can understand the mental, it's a kind of energy that is storing like if we take a stone to a mountain, that is store the energy, and whenever we can release the stone to downhill it comes. That's that sort of energy there. The other thing is like electricity or telephone. We get energy. That means we can see the bulb. We can see phone ringing. That's the energy coming. But it reflect object. That means bulb or phone. It's like that our five senses is representing form, but it reality is four kind of things. That means we call Patavi, Apo, Tejo, Vayu, like finally it's come to that stage. But that means Nama, Rupa, in Pali we call is Rupa.
Simply, what is your question?
My question is how it come to the Arupa world, this functionality.
Okay, so when you take the rock up to the mountain or remove the rock up to the mountain, rock will fall down. What will happen to the shadow of the rock? It's also rolling down. Is the shadow matter or not?
Shadow come with the rock.
Exactly. It is also working like the rock. The Arupa Jhana, Arupa Loka is the shadow of the matter. So whenever you remove the Patavi, Apo, Tejo, you get the space. Space is called Arupa. You can't, the matter cannot exist without the space. You can't paint the chitra paint without the canvas. But the canvas is not the thing you are selling. You are selling the painting. And without canvas it can't happen. So without the shadow, it cannot. The shadow is the subtle materiality.
That means in Arupa world, the ditti is not completed. That is still there.
Shadows of the dittis are there.
Yeah. Yes.
Shadow form. Right, the shadow cabinet, we call that. The cabinet is there, the shadow cabinet is there. They are also following exactly the theory, but against what the cabinet is going to say. And whenever going to get the chance, they will be giving the answers. The Rupa world and Arupa world is known as the thing, and it's shadow. It's a way of the comprehensible way. I am not giving the exactly thing. Exactly thing you have to go there and experience. This is the way literally you can answer the question. It's convincing. Okay, 10 o'clock. Hoping no more questions. We are going to sum up the day's program.